Hey FB family, how are you? It's Elan Bomani, the Pajama Mama, where we help you basically get into the world of firing your boss and hiring your kids. And we give you some phenomenal information in order to help you do that by interviewing four, 5, and 6-figure and 7-figure mom and dadpreneurs that are financially free. And if you want it to be, you've got to come and join me, where I'm going to give you some great information. On today's show, it is Motivational Monday. And on Motivational Monday, we've got some great information for you to help you get to the next level by motivating you and empowering you. Today, I woke up this morning with a wonderful motivational little video from my billionaire mentor, Oprah Winfrey, care of, I don't know who the diva was that sent it to me, but boy, was I so grateful for that message, because it was a message that I am supposed to deliver to you today. And what happened was, I got so excited about that message, I went and I sent that message to 5,000. I had my son and I sat down and literally just manually hit send that video to all of my 5,000 members of Facebook. And because the reason why Oprah was talking about, negative people that are in her lives and how she went about the means of getting rid of those negative people. And in my book, Dynamic Diva Dolls for Women Who Aren't Afraid to Become Millionaires, I discuss the negs, the negative people, places, situations, and circumstances that you had to get rid of in order for me to climb. I mean, think about, ladies and gentlemen, I went from absolutely zero, technically $36 on my checking account, to a millionaire in 18 months. Some 10, 11, 12 years ago. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you that one of the reasons why I was homeless was because I allowed my family, my friends, my loved ones, etc., manipulate and control me to the point that I put myself into homelessness. Now, I want to be very clear about this. We're going to take responsibility for all of our actions. They didn't make me homeless. I made choices that allowed me to make me homeless. Remember, my motto is, as you're pointing one finger at someone else, hello, three fingers are pointing back at you. So if anything negative happens in your life, understand this now. The bottom line is you created the experience. So I was very clear at the time that if I could create my hell, I could definitely create my heaven. And I was going to make some really drastic decisions and changes in my life. And that's why I sent out that message to everyone, because I promise you, as well as I made $1 million, do you know I lost that same $1 million? Because once again, I allowed people people to try to manipulate and control me. But let's just say I go over that with a quickness real fast, and I don't have that problem any longer. And I suggest you do the same thing too, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Because I was clear when I got on my hands and knees, down on my hands and knees, and I was praying to God, Allah, Jehovah, Buddha, Yahweh, Jesus Christ, whomever you want to call him for yourself. I called on them all, because I really wanted to get this, and I wanted to get it real quick, because this homeless stint was not pretty. I was not happy, and I did not want to let this situation happen to me again. And, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it for yourself, told me in a nutshell that these certain people that were in my life at the time, I allowed them to manipulate and control me. And that's why I was where I was at. So from that day forward, I vowed that I would never, ever allow that situation to happen again, okay? And so that's what I want to, why it's so important that I share that with you, because as well as you can make all that money, you can bring and draw people in your life that will suck the energy. They call them vampires, they call them zombies, whatever the case may be. Those negative people can grab you and take it all away in a matter of minutes and seconds if you, keyword is you, allow them to do that. So for example, I had to release a lot of very close people in my life. And yes, it was painful, but that's why, but I did it lovingly, and that's why they call it tough love. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to have to love people from a distance. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes you're going to have to love people from a distance, because a lot of times people don't mind when you do good, but don't do better. And when you do better, people are going to try to sabotage you only because you're making them look at themselves for what they know they should be doing for themselves. So because they're afraid to do it for themselves, what they're going to do is try to sabotage what you've been able to accomplish and try to take it away from you by hook or by crook, ladies and gentlemen, at your expense. So if you're wise enough to know, yes, there are a lot of haters out there. And I always tell people, don't hate, participate. Because key reality of the situation is if you don't do it now, you are going to have to be confronted with having to do it later. So get the job done. The universe helps those who help themselves. So you're going to have to do that. And most recently, maybe I'm going to say about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had to release a relative, and it's always people that are close to us, a relative from my life, because of the fact that it was very clear that they were trying to manipulate and control me while I'm trying to get to the next level and rebuild my $1 million empire. And I literally had to let that person go because it was quite clear to me that they were trying to manipulate and control me, especially when I'm giving you time, my money, and my energy. And when I find out that that's not enough and they're not happy, then it's something deeper than that. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share this with you. Nobody is worth you. I don't care if they're your mama. I don't care if they're your daddy. I don't care if they are your sister. I don't care if they're your cousin from the left side or Pookie or whatever the case may be. You do what you can do. But beyond that, you got to ask yourself, are you helping someone or are you enabling someone? And let's talk about my billionaire mentor, Oprah Winfrey, for a second. Because she is sure enough on point. Everybody knows how giving and loving Oprah is. But if you check out Oprah, she does not have a relationship with her mother, and she does not have a relationship with her father. And I'm just going to speak about her father because after she accomplished all that wealth, all that abundance, what she normally did, because her father was there for her and gave her tough love as she was growing up. Unfortunately, her mother was there for her for a minute, but wasn't fully sold out on her for obvious reasons, okay? To the point where Oprah didn't find out she even had a half-sister until the half-sister was something like 40 years of age. So you know they had issues in the family as far as that is concerned. But let's talk about Dad for a second. So keep in mind, I want you to fully understand how generous Oprah is. Of course, she bought her dad a house and a car, and I'm sure he had a stipend and money coming in on a monthly basis to satisfy his every dream and every wish. And in addition to that, I think he invested in real estate. So, of course, she invested into that for him. He had a barbershop, so she hooked him up with that barbershop. And he got married, and Oprah paid for the wedding for her. Hey, glad I was able to catch the show today. Hey, Karen, you caught the show. I'm about to end it. But listening at the end and listening to the replay, okay, Diva? Hey, Iris, hey. I can't call you Iris, Sissy. You're my cousin. I got to call you Sissy. That's more loving to me. Hey, Sissy, how you doing? So one of the key things that I'm going to share with you in a nutshell is that Oprah had done everything for her dad. Would you believe that her dad and his new wife had basically signed a contract to do a tell-all book? Of course, it was a negative tell-all book about Oprah Winfrey. I want you to sit back and I want you to marinate on that for a second. She sits there praises her dad nationally, gives him the keys to the kingdom, basically, gives him the life of his dream, and he turns around and signs $1 million contract like he really needed the money to basically write a negative tell-all book about his daughter, Oprah Winfrey. Well, come finding out, the woman that he married had a lot to do with it. It's irrelevant. Key thing about it is that's his daughter. That truly is ultimately his decision. And the reality of the situation is he is the one that's going to be giving up the goods or whatever it is that he was going to say. And after all Oprah had did for him. Do you know what Oprah ended up doing? See, this is a class act move. Oprah Winfrey gave her father the $1 million just to stop him from writing that so-called tell-all book. And I know that was very painful for her. But after she did it, you never ever heard her say another word, negative or positive, about her dad. She just had to release him, of course, and go about her way. But do you know, to this day, even though she did not have a very good relationship with her mother and her father, she still takes care of her parents because it's just the right thing to do, and she quite frankly can afford it. Not everybody has that ability to do that with their parents. And that is truly, hey, Christina, good to see you, Diva, too. Thank you so much for being on our show today. So that's what I'm talking about. I mean, she still, no matter what negative, she still takes care of her parents, but she goes about her business, but you never ever hear her say a negative or positive word about either one of them, because you got to stay in the light. You got to be in a state of always love, acceptance, and forgiveness. You got to forgive them. You got to release them. And sometimes you got to do some tough love and love them from a distance. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you take points as far as that is concerned, because I promise you, I had to do some tough love decisions. You know, I had to divorce my husband because it literally cost me the millions of dollars. But that was okay. Because the reality of the situation is that unfortunately at a subconscious level, he still had a poverty consciousness. And he was fearful and resentful for the fact that me being the wife, okay, that old school mentality, I was becoming the breadwinner. I was making more money than him, and he didn't like that. Childish, immature, ridiculous type of scenario. But that's the reality of it. So he sabotaged our $1 million business just so he could be the breadwinner of the family, right? I mean, we're talking about he sabotaged my children's future college education. He sabotaged, the replenishment of his retirement plan and living below, the normal middle class status. Why? For the sake of ego? Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, it happens like that for so many of us. And what I had to do, I had to make a tough love decision, and I had to wish him well and release him. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I was very, very clear that if I created it, because that million was created alone by me, as far as what was up here. See, people may be able to take the money away, but they can't take away that rich education and knowledge that I had. So I had the information and education in order to rebuild my $1 million empire. And so shall you see me right now in the midst of doing it as we speak. Okay? But I want to be very, very clear. That's why you want to make sure that you are financially yoked with the love of your life when you decide to get married, if you have. And if you are married, make sure that you marinate in the positive and wealth and abundance with your partner, because they can make you and they can unfortunately break you. That's the reality of the situation, okay? So I want to be very clear about that. And I want you to keep that in mind as far as our family, friends, and loved ones, our moms and our dads and things of that nature. That can happen too. And sometimes you got to love them from a distance, and you're going to have to release them for your own. You can't help nobody, ladies and gentlemen, until you're helping yourself. You can't pull blood from a stone. So let's be very clear about that, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you to realize that. I want you to listen to Oprah. I sent that message out to all of my 5,000 friends. And if you were on this, sometimes you're going to have to release the people that you love the most. But you want to ask yourself, do they really love you? You see, when I was homeless and I was down on my knees, there was none of those people. My mama didn't rescue me. My daddy didn't rescue me. Aunts, uncles, cousins, no family, no friends. And sure enough, my husband wasn't there to rescue me. So the reality of the situation is, when I figured out it was between me and God, ladies and gentlemen, that was for me. I'm very clear. The best relationship and the only true relationship that you will ever have, that will be there for you through thick and thin and forever, is between you and God. And that's real. Okay? Because to err is to be human. Don't get mad. Don't get upset with people being human beings. Everybody makes mistakes, I have no animosity towards any of the people that try to sabotage, my, road to creating millions. Never. And even to this very day, but I'm very, very clear, though, that I release them and I love them from a distance, and I keep it moving to being positive and focused. And I marinate around people, regardless if they're family, friends, or foes, that are positive, that are productive, that want to go the righteous way, that want to get to the top. I stay in love, peace, happiness, joy, and abundance. And that's why I am experiencing it in my life. And I'm so happy for the decisions that I made, because it made me a very, very happy person. Most recently, a client of mine just recently passed away from pancreatic cancer. And the major cancer that she had in her life, unfortunately, was her husband. But still, it was her choice to stay in that relationship, in that marriage, though she even knew she should have left a long time ago. And even her son confessed. He said this one line: "My mother loved everybody else, and I loved her too. She was the most loving, givingest person. But the key thing," he said, "but my mother didn't love herself." Powerful, powerful. And that's what cancer does. Cancer is a product of the emotion of anger and hate. And the reality of it is, she hated herself. Because when you love yourself, you're not going to allow someone else to hate you or disrespect you, to get back on top, over the top. And I want you to reach massive success and understanding it's okay. Mwah. Love, kiss them on the cheek. Love them from the distance. Block them from your phone. Block them from your FB page, and keep it moving. Listen, I hope everybody appreciate this information, ladies and gentlemen. I will see the top, over the top. More importantly, it's Ilan Bomani. I will see you at the bank. Ching, ching. Bye-bye for now.